Have you ever seen someone dominate an All-Star weekend without even playing? Well, that's exactly what Caitlin Clark just pulled off. And if you stick around, I'll tell you how she became the most talked about person at an event she couldn't even participate in. But first, hit that subscribe button because we're about to dive into something wild. So everyone knows Caitlin Clark withdrew from the 2025 WNBA All-Star Game due to a groin injury. The news crushed fans, who paid record-breaking prices to see her play in Indianapolis. But here's where it gets interesting. What happened next proves she might be even more powerful off the court than on it. I'm talking about a 23-year-old who just turned the biggest disappointment of the WNBA season into a masterclass on star power. While other players were warming up for the three-point contest, Clark was orchestrating something nobody saw coming. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll understand why the league might actually be more worried about her influence than her jump shot. Let's start with what nobody's talking about. Thursday morning, Caitlin Clark walks into a closed-door meeting with officials alongside Angel Reese. Yeah, you heard that right. Clark and Reese, the two players media loves to pit against each other, sitting side by side negotiating the future of women's basketball. These weren't just photo ops either. Sources inside those collective bargaining agreement talks say Clark was dropping knowledge like she'd been in the league for a decade, not just 1.5 seasons. But that was just the appetizer. Friday rolls around, and suddenly Clark's everywhere except where you'd expect her. While Brittany Sykes is taking her spot in practice, Clark's pulling moves that would make a chess grandmaster jealous. First stop, a youth basketball clinic that nobody announced. Just shows up, no fanfare, starts working with kids like it's any other Friday. Security tries to keep it low-key, but word spreads faster than a Steph Curry release. Within 30 minutes, the place is packed. Here's where it gets crazy, though. Nancy Lieberman, a literal Hall of Famer, records this emotional video message for Clark from a Dallas youth camp. Lieberman's telling kids about how Clark changed the game, and she's getting choked up talking about it. When's the last time you saw a legend crying over a second-year player? I'll wait. Meanwhile, downtown Indianapolis looks like Caitlin Clark conquered the city. Nike dropped a 30-story mural of her on the JW Marriott. 30 stories. That's not a poster, that's a monument. Veterans like Courtney Williams and Natisha Heidemann are driving around live streaming their reactions, completely stunned. Williams literally said, "That's hard as hell," on their StudBud stream. These are players with 15 years combined experience, acting like tourists in their own league's city. But Clark's not done. Thursday night, she shows up at the All-Star reception, and this is where things get spicy. Her brother Colin gets on the microphone during a live stream and calls out WNBA refs. Just straight up says, "Fix the refereeing, WNBA, it's bad though." The whole room goes quiet for a second, then erupts in nervous laughter. Players are nodding, trying not to get caught agreeing on camera. Colin basically said what every fan's been screaming all season, except he did it at an official WNBA event with his injured sister standing right there. Now, any other player's family pulls that stunt, it's a controversy. But with Clark, it becomes a rallying cry. Within hours, clips are going viral with millions of views. Fans are making compilation videos of bad calls against Clark. Sports talk shows are debating referee bias. The WNBA suddenly has a PR situation, and Clark didn't even open her mouth. Saturday arrives, game day. Clark can't play, but she's sitting courtside helping coach Sandy Brondeau strategize for Team Clark. Cameras catch her every 5 seconds. She's drawing up plays, talking to players, basically running the huddle. At one point, Aja Wilson comes over for advice. Let that sink in. The reigning MVP is asking a second-year player who's not even dressed for tactical input. Here's what's really happening, though. While everyone's watching the game, Clark's conducting a masterpiece in market manipulation. Those record-breaking ticket prices I mentioned, average price hit $262. The get-in price was $121. For context, that's higher than most NBA regular season games. And this is for an all-star game where the main attraction isn't even playing. But Clark's impact goes deeper than ticket sales. Remember that collective bargaining meeting? Word is Clark pushed hard for better travel conditions, higher minimum salaries, and expanded media rights. She's not just thinking about max contracts for stars. She's advocating for the 15th player on the roster. That's not normal superstar behavior. That's someone building an empire. Let me paint you another picture. Friday afternoon, Clark makes an unannounced appearance at a Wilson Sporting Goods fan event. She's supposed to be resting that injury, right? Wrong. She's signing basketballs, taking photos, turning what should have been a standard corporate appearance into must-see entertainment. Lines wrapped around the building twice. Security had to call for backup. The event was scheduled for 2 hours. Clark stayed for 4. Then there's the ESPN situation. Clark was supposed to do a quick hit on SportsCenter via satellite. Instead, she shows up to their on-site setup in person, transforms a 2-minute interview into a 15-minute deep dive on the state of women's basketball. She's dropping stats, discussing international player development, explaining why the WNBA needs to expand to 16 teams by 2030. Anchors are scrambling to keep up. Producers are frantically signaling to keep rolling. This isn't an interview anymore, it's a TED Talk. But wait, there's more. Saturday morning, Clark posts this Instagram story from her hotel room. She's watching film of the upcoming Olympics, breaking down international competition. Fans screenshot it, zoom in, realize she's annotated plays in multiple colors. She's studying while injured during All-Star weekend. That's not normal. That's obsessive. That's Michael Jordan levels of competitive psychosis. The Shane Gillis situation at the ESPYs earlier that week, Clark handled that with more grace than a prima ballerina. Gillis makes this tasteless joke about her future at Waffle House. Most players would have clapped back on social media. Clark, radio silence, just shows up to All-Star Weekend and demonstrates why she's above responding to mediocre comedians. Her presence speaks louder than any tweet ever could. Here's something else nobody's connecting. Clark's got a 2025 Super Bowl commercial with Nike. Their first in 27 years. She's transcending sports categories. While she's navigating All-Star Weekend injured, Nike executives are probably popping champagne. Their investment isn't just in a basketball player anymore, they've got a cultural phenomenon who can command attention without even competing. The real power move comes Saturday evening, though. After Team Clark wins the All-Star game, she's in the tunnel congratulating players. Cameras catch her pulling aside rookies, giving them advice, building relationships. She's networking like a 10-year veteran. One rookie later posts that Clark gave her more useful tips in 5 minutes than she'd gotten all season. That's not just leadership, that's legacy building. Let's talk about what this means financially. The Fever's season ticket renewals are already at 95% for next season. That's in July. Most teams don't hit those numbers until February. Hotels in Indianapolis reported 70% higher occupancy rates than typical July weekends. Restaurants within a mile of Gainbridge Fieldhouse saw revenue increases of 300%. This isn't just basketball impact, this is economic impact. But here's the kicker. Clark's not even getting the biggest contract in the league. Her rookie deal is worth less than some bench players make, yet she's driving more revenue than players making 5 times her salary. That collective bargaining agreement meeting, sources say Clark pointed this out directly to Commissioner Kathy Engelbert. Not complaining about her own deal, highlighting the systematic undervaluation of the entire league. The injury itself tells a story too. Clark's played through pain all season. She's missed 12 games total, each time returning maybe too soon. This all-star withdrawal, first time she's voluntarily sat out something major. That's growth. That's maturity. That's someone learning their body is their business asset. Meanwhile, back in the real world, Clark's Foundation announces they're donating 22,000 books to schools in Iowa and Indiana. She times the announcement for All-Star Saturday morning. Every media outlet has to cover it. She's using her spotlight to highlight literacy while sidelined with an injury. Marketing genius or genuine philanthropy? Probably both. The Studbud stream moment with Colin keeps reverberating too. By Sunday, 3 former referees have gone on podcasts discussing officiating inconsistencies. The WNBA announces they're reviewing training procedures. They don't mention Clark, but everyone knows why. Her brother's 15-second complaint created more referee accountability than years of formal complaints. Here's what's really wild though. Sabrina Ionescu gave an interview where she straight up said Clark saved the 3-point contest. Not by participating, but by agreeing to attend and support. Ionescu said knowing Clark would be courtside motivated everyone to perform better. When your presence alone elevates other professionals' games, you've transcended normal stardom. The post-game coverage focused more on Clark's coaching assistance than actual game highlights. ESPN's broadcast mentioned her name 47 times. She didn't play a single minute. For comparison, they mentioned the actual game MVP 31 times. That's not media bias, that's market reality. Sunday morning, Clark does one final boss move. She shows up unannounced at a local Indianapolis basketball court where kids are playing pickup. No cameras, no publicity, just her and a handful of security. Spends 2 hours running drills, playing 21, signing everything in sight. By afternoon, it's trending worldwide. She turned a rest day into a grassroots marketing campaign. What's the lesson here? Caitlin Clark just proved you don't need to play to dominate All-Star Weekend. She turned an injury disappointment into a masterclass on influence. While other stars were competing for three-point contest glory, Clark was competing for hearts, minds, and the future of women's basketball. The WNBA wanted to showcase their stars in Indianapolis. They got something better. They got to witness the birth of a mogul. Clark didn't just attend All-Star Weekend, she transformed it into the Caitlin Clark experience, featuring some basketball. And that $3 million meal donation her foundation facilitated, that feeds more people than attended every WNBA game this season combined. This is bigger than basketball now. This is about a 23-year-old understanding her power and wielding it like a veteran executive. She's not just changing the game, she's changing the entire business model. And the scariest part for her competitors, she did all this while injured. Imagine what happens when she's healthy. Before you go, drop a comment. Do you think Clark's off-court influence is becoming more important than her on-court performance? Because after this weekend, I'm starting to wonder if the real game isn't even played on hardwood anymore. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell, because when Clark makes her next move, you'll want to be the first to know.